14th meeting of the Glendale Commission on the Status of Women. We have roll call, please, Ms. Babumian, or Dana.
Commissioner Alcazar.
Present.
Commissioner Burns.
Present.
Commissioner Garsavanian.
Present.
Vice Chair Miller.
Present.
Commissioner Sarukanian.
Present.
Commissioner Tashtian. And Chair Devine.
Here. Next item, please.
The agenda for November 14, 2011 meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside of City Hall on or before November 10, 2011. 2 is introductions and presentations. 2A is family caregivers, Glendale Memorial Hospital and Health Center.
Ms. Babumian?
Yeah. Chair Devine, members of the Commission, from Glendale Memorial Hospital, we have with us tonight Robin Stuczynski. She's a licensed clinical social worker. She's the manager for palliative care and social work services at Glendale Memorial Hospital and Healthcare Center, and just wanted to welcome her and let her give us her presentation.
Thank you very much. First, I'd like to thank you for this amazing opportunity to speak to a group of my peers about a very genuine and real matter that faces us, and that is the journey of being or becoming a caregiver, a family caregiver. So in preparation for this presentation, I did some research and found that knowingly or unknowingly you chose an apropos month for this topic, as it is National Family Caregiver Month. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, so that was kind of exciting. And that's where I'll start my presentation, and then I'll move you through just a few of the various links that I found. There's a plethora of services and links that you can find for services on the internet and various other resources. But what I like to do is I'll start with the national level, and then I'll move you through the local level to bring it to us. And let me get you here. Where's the... Okay, well, we lost the first one, but that's okay. So there is a link for the National Family Caregiver Month, and as you see, you can refer to the resource list that you have that was just up on the screen, and that will be one place where you can start with. And I wanted to tell you that it's been identified that families are the major provider of long-term care to older loved ones, and while this is a responsibility that can take an emotional, physical, and financial toll, being aware of the variety of available resources, as I mentioned, can really help the caregiver with stress. And I'm aware that families are also acting as caregivers to younger loved ones or same-age loved ones, and not just older loved ones, due to a variety of disabilities or illnesses, so I wanted to acknowledge that. So I will draw your attention to one of our first resources, which is the Administration on Aging. Again, this is on the national level, and you can see that they provide family caregiver support program, and as you can see, there's a variety of links here that you can look at to whatever meets the needs of your particular circumstances, and it describes how the program works. And just to bring your attention to the purpose of the program is that it was established in the year 2000 with grants and so forth, actually, for the states, different states and different areas. And there's a range of supports, as I said, to assist the families, and also by virtue of assisting the families, assisting the patients or loved ones themselves. So this is one resource, and again, this is on the national level. I'm going to bring you back to this first one. Sorry about this. There we go. So this was the first national level, the National Family Caregiver Association. And again, this has a variety of resources. You can see who are family caregivers. It can describe that, caregiver resources, connecting caregivers as a support network. And again, here's the National Family Caregivers Month link, which I'd like to just show you real quickly. And this has a few pieces of information related specifically to that. That in 1994, the National Family Caregivers Association began promoting the celebration of family caregivers during the week of Thanksgiving. President Clinton signed the first presidential proclamation in 1997, and every president since, Democratic and Republican alike, has issued an annual proclamation appreciating family caregivers. As interest grew in the family caregiving issues, as you've brought it to our attention here today, National Family Caregivers Week became National Family Caregivers Month. So that's some of the steps that have taken. Okay, so now I will bring your attention to I'm sorry, the links have duplicated themselves. So I'll bring your attention to the Administration on Aging, which is a link that I'm sorry I don't have for you right now, and I don't want to waste the time in getting there. So the Administration on Aging is another, it's a Department of Health and Human Services link and program, and we have just seen that. That's the National Family Giver Support Program. It has some resources there for elders and families, emergency preparedness, aging statistics, and other supports on that national level. And then we have the Elder Care Locator, which is this program and link right here. And then as you can see on here, you have national information and resources, again on the national level, publications, information and resources in your area. Here's some of the resources: long-term care planning and fact sheets and brochures and different things of that nature. And then I would like to draw your attention to the City of Glendale, bringing us back a little bit closer to home. And we have, this is through the Community Services and Parks, and they offer senior programs and services. And as you can see here, these are the local senior centers that offer some support for caregivers. And actually for the loved ones themselves, so you can get some some active adults services, and that provides respite as well for the caregivers. So that's an opportunity for everyone to kind of rejuvenate a little bit. Here's some other care management services which are associated to provide some resources for you. And then here's just some other brief resources that you can see. You can get some tools and publications you can receive to keep yourself up to date. Here are some resources for finances, legal issues, healthcare issues that are really helpful when you're caring. This is caring for the caregiver, and this is a handbook for the caregiver. So this is really helpful, again, with support groups and services. And this is a general Los Angeles County website and phone number. You just simply dial 211 when you're anywhere in Los Angeles County, and you can ask the operator, live person, for any resource that you might need. And it's a really good resource for a number of things in addition to support groups or what have you in your area. And as you can see, there's some, on this link, there's some special sublinks to particular areas. And that's a very handy resource to have. Also, I wanted to point out that with your specific insurance that a person has, that you would be able to find some resources through your insurance programs, and one of them being Medicare, which of course many of our older citizens have. So I just wanted to bring your attention that there is a section on Medicare.gov with the topic of support for caregivers. And again, you have some financial help, legal assistance, and planning for long-term care, managing nursing home transitions, with the point being to keep your loved one in the home as long as possible. And then, of course, most importantly, taking care of yourself and finding support in your community. So I wanted to just draw your attention to some of those things. There are some great resources, and I wanted to open it up for if you have any questions related.
Well, if someone doesn't have a computer and they call Glendale Memorial Hospital, what programs do you have for them?
Thank you. Thank you for drawing my attention to that. We have the Social Services Department, which actually comes to me when you call. And what we do is I do get a fair amount of calls, I would say an average on a weekly basis, and I get some questions, what are some services? What are some resources in terms of housing that I need, board and care, assisted living, skilled nursing facilities, and we do send lists and also advanced care planning documents and that kind of thing. So through the Social Services Department and the Spiritual Care Department, we do have those services. So people either call myself or they can call Glendale Memorial Hospital and ask for spiritual care. And we have Reverend Cassie McCarty, who's the Director of Mission Integration and Spiritual Care Services there. And she actually directed me to a website that was up here. But again, I didn't want to waste too much time, for something called a spiritual director, which if you're a person of faith, or in fact, even if you're not a person of faith, then she recommended this as a way to get some direction, some guidance, and I thought that was a great opportunity. It is on your list. And what is spiritual direction? I wasn't familiar with it, so I looked it up myself. Spiritual direction is a process of accompanying people on a spiritual journey. Spiritual direction exists in a context that emphasizes growing closer to God, and it also explores a deeper relationship with the spiritual aspect of being human. So that kind of connects us all, of course. And it's that's all. So you can call. Yes. Thank you. So on this, you can find a spiritual care director that is in your area on the Seek and Find guide. So that's an element of what we were talking about in terms of self-care. If you don't have a computer, you can call your local hospital. One of them being us, Glendale Memorial Hospital and Health Center, or you can look in your phone book. These resources are in the same area. I think if you look up caregivers, you'll probably find some resources. Certainly the county, the state, and the federal programs that are always at the beginning of your phone book, or you can call the 211, which is available to anybody free of charge in Los Angeles County, as I mentioned.
What are the questions that you are most often asked when you get phone calls?
Just the process of how to help their loved ones or themselves in terms of accessing these resources, which is sort of what you mentioned. I might get a request for a list of the resources, which I either fax or mail, and explain the process a little bit to help ease the mind of the caller, to be more familiar with the process that they'll be facing, things to look for, things to ask, to advocate for themselves and for their family.
What kind of programs do you have at Memorial?
For caregivers, we don't have anything specific at this time. We do offer the palliative care program is sort of a special program that is geared towards people who are closer to the end of their life and helping the people who obviously care for them during that time when needs are a little bit more intense. And so we do have sort of a higher level of interventions and services. We usually meet daily, or as close to daily as possible, with families and touching base with them and with the patients if they're capable. And we walk them through those steps of what things will look like. We also have as I said, our spiritual care department focuses on advanced care planning. We have a bioethics team. So when you're a patient, you can, if you're struggling with decisions and you may have differing opinions within the family, we have the bioethics committee, which I'm also co-chair of, will review it and meet with physicians and meet with families and propose a recommendation, which is just that, a recommendation. And there's one more thing, I'll think of it. Any other questions? No? Well, I really thank you for this opportunity, and I'm available if something comes up. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to say anything? Okay, thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is oral comment. Discussion is limited to items not a part of this agenda. Time is limited to an amount to be set by the chair. The commission may question or respond to the speaker, but there will be no debate or discussion. Staff may refer the matter to the proper department for investigation and report.
I have no card, so we'll move on to the next item, please.
4 is consent items. 4A is approval of the minutes of the regular commission meeting held on October 10, 2011.
Do I?
I make a motion that we go ahead and approve those minutes of the October 2011 meeting.
It's posted. Second? And we have 3 votes, so we have consensus. Mr. Garsavanian is absent, so he can. Okay. He has no vote.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, next item, please.
5 is business agenda. A is action items. 1 is consideration and discussion regarding the 2012 special focus of the Commission on the Status of Women. A is a motion providing direction regarding the 2012 special focus.
Yes, Chair Devine, members of the Commission, a very brief report for you about this item. Every year, towards the end of the year, the Commission selects the focus for the upcoming year for the Commission on the Status of Women, and this doesn't completely change the regular events that the Commission holds, the signature programs, but it helps provide a topical framework to enhance our meetings, for example, the speakers that we have, and some events that we could focus on and partner with other local organizations to do. So in your report, you do have a listing of past themes. I will go through them. In 2007, we had a Year of the Glendale Girl. In 2008, it was Women's Leadership. In 2009, it was Women's Health. 2010 was Year of the Volunteer, and in 2011 was Elevating Women. Now, when the focus was selected in 2011, the Commission did create a set of guidelines that allowed various nonprofit organizations from the City of Glendale to be placed on the agenda for each of the regular meetings of the Commission. For example, in 2009, the Commission didn't really need to set guidelines. The Commission really just followed the national health awareness months that are set up that we already come to know. In 2010, when the Commission did Year of the Volunteer, it was a little bit more vague, what sorts of topics the Commission would have presented at each month, and that's why we picked a series of guidelines, so to speak. And so once the focus for 2012 is determined, it can be left at the discretion of the chair and staff to work on what each topic will be, but as you can see in your calendars, the all caps quoted topics that are usually in the box for each month, we can go ahead and staff can go ahead and take recommendations for what kinds of topics you would like to see. That concludes my report if you have any questions.
Okay. So the floor is open to suggestions as to a focus for next year. I did have in mind women in aging, since we have Commissioner Miller on our commission now, and that's exactly the focus of her work. I thought that would be a good fit for the commission. Do any of you have any other suggestions that you'd like to discuss or put forward?
I had a more general theme. It was celebrating women, and I'd like to see us embrace more of the celebration aspect and raising women, and kind of a more general.
Well, okay, it's a good idea, but I think elevating women was just about the same, and I think we found this year that that was a little bit too broad. Am I correct, Ms. Babumian? Being that broad was a little difficult.
The commission did set those guidelines for the months, but I can say, for example, in 2009, a tie-in for the focus was partnering with a lot of the hospitals with their luncheons that they would have at the hospitals. The commission would partner with them and help bring awareness and promote those free luncheons that the hospitals would have on various health topics. So that was something different that the commission did that dealt with the focus. In 2010, which was Year of the Volunteer, in addition to having various organizations come and present and talk about their organizations and how the community can get involved and volunteer with their organizations, at our Jules Luncheon, we had a mini volunteer fair where at the Embassy Suites where we held our luncheon that year, in the room outside of the dining hall, we had different nonprofits there with their boards up and information about their organizations. And there was also a canned food drive that was donated to Salvation Army. So it's a little different every year. Those are, in my experiences, how the special focuses have played out as far as beyond the commission meetings. As far as elevating women, it is a little general. I know the idea was to kind of partner with Senator Liu, and we did the financial literacy, but it wasn't very specific to the theme.
Any other comments? Commissioner Burns?
Sure, we have 2 men on the commission. So I would kind of like to hear a little bit broader idea from you, Chris.
I also had, since next year is 2012 and it's going to be a big election year, I was thinking maybe we can have something to do with women in politics and women having women's voices heard more as a whole.
Commissioner Miller?
One of the things that I was thinking about in terms of this whole topic, and I will actually address specifically your ideas about elevating women, but when we look at women and aging, keeping in mind that it's not just related to health issues with women. There are issues of financial stability. Their whole financial structure may change if they lose a spouse. Their role in the family may change. There are spiritual changes. They move from being a mother into the grandmother role. So there are many aspects beyond just the health that we can address. There's safety issues. And it would be, so my thought process is to move more towards looking at the aging woman. We could even incorporate some of the thought process with, whereas elevating women might be too broad, perhaps for me, I would say that women in politics might be too specific. And we might just get too much of that next year. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. We can also go into, other topics are elder abuse and mental health, depression and stress, and there are postmenopausal issues. There are a lot of women's issues during aging that I think women that are watching might be interested in. And I think this is it's broad, but yet it has really important specifics that we could talk about. Commissioner Burns?
Yes, we really need to focus on something that's a little bit more uplifting. I mean, you named 2 or 3 things that everything you named, I went down a bit. It's really quite dreary getting old unless we look at the positive things about aging. And there are positive things about aging. Yes, we will, but we need to focus on those 2. I think we've been focusing on sad things to a great degree. but I think we also need to realize that Glendale has some fabulous older women, and we should take a look at what they do.
Oh, that's a really great idea.
We can do that.
We can incorporate
and we can
that in as
incorporate
well.
that, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And
Honestly.
every year at our luncheon, we have been giving the Chairs Award to an older woman, a pillar of the community who has contributed and is still contributing. And I
Yeah.
think that's definitely a part of our
So the
message.
younger women need the role models.
Yes, that's right. I agree.
Guess what? We're
Well,
it.
I happen to like older people. And
That's so nice of you.
So I have to tell you, I find it exciting and wonderful, and everything you attend when you come to the Live Well program. So
Yeah, I know.
find it exciting, and I find that I get smarter every day. So
Don't
I
we?
think, so I say to myself,
Ex officio Alcazar, did you have something to add?
Yes, to incorporate the thoughts about women in politics, women aging, and like women who, in the past who can have done a great amount of duty to their community. I thought of the motto of our school right away. It clicked right away. The motto is "Where Women Make History," and I just thought of the theme like women making history because women getting older, they make history in their homes and even outside in the community. And it also inspires younger women to make history as well, as they say, make role models. And then women in politics, they continue to make history, even in the past, like feminism. And I don't know, just incorporating all the ideas. And
Great idea.
even if it's too broad, you can use each month to get more specific in programs and volunteering.
Idea.
Plastic
Mr.
surgeons.
Burns? Well, we could incorporate that.
we could.
Well, women that you're talking about, that could be another month.
Women in history. Well, that's February.
And there is a Women in March. I think
March.
it's March is Women's History Month, so we can do that as well. We can incorporate all of that into, I think, women in aging. It doesn't have to be just about the sad, depressing.
Well, we start aging when we're born. So
Yes, that's right.
Women in
And-
aging is just, you can begin when you're born. You're aging all the way through, babe. Right?
Right, exactly. We're aging as we sit here.
Aren't we?
Aren't we?
So what kind of consensus do we have?
I just don't like women in aging.
What
or
about
aging women?
celebrating women in aging?
Well, I'll go with that
What was your
word.
idea? Yours was
Yeah, I
healthy
can-
aging.
Yes, healthy aging.
Miller, healthy aging.
We already did that, didn't we?
No.
We did something about health.
Oh, we did women's health.
Yeah, women's
This is-
health.
This is healthy aging.
I like celebrating more than healthy. But it doesn't really matter. What do you think, Chris?
Well, that was my idea, so I like celebrating too.
Yeah, I think
You know,
it's
Chris,
a-
I like it as well, or Commissioner Garcifani, excuse me, I like it as well, but given that we just had the topic elevating women, that's more, and so if we incorporate what you're trying to accomplish in your feedback, which I think is really crucial, then we go that direction and we do that specific.
I love that idea.
And
I love the,
I have to say that I've talked about this, women in aging, to other women in the community, and they love it. There is so much that they can learn, and so I just felt it was a good fit. And as I say, I think, we have a list from the, the LA County Department of Health and Aging, and there's a whole list of many topics that we can discuss, high topics, innovating topics, and then we can't just talk about, it's not all a bed of roses. There are some problems as we get older, and I think we have to discuss those as well. So,
Well, you could stick them in. You could just put them
Yes,
in,
yes.
but not as a stuff it in your face kind of thing. I think we all have to hear the positives rather than the negatives.
Exactly. Well,
Because
everybody prefers that. of
Well,
course.
yes.
Yes, yeah.
I still would rather celebrate it than because healthy is obvious. I think.
I'm more, again, I'm more specific to keeping the wording aging in there. It really does. If we take ourselves outside of this commission and we look at what's going on in the community and nationwide, I mean, we know that in 1950, 1.5 million Californians were over the age of 65, and here we are in 2010, and we have 6.7 million, of which a large percentage of that is women, and women are growing older on their own, and we could be a front runner. Exactly. We could be a front runner in front of other communities. So it's not healthy's a great word, but I would...
And I really, our mission is to educate women, to empower women. And how better can we do that than by focusing on challenges that we're having as we get older? Some of them are easier than others, but I think to use this as a pulpit to help women in our community is what we're here for. I think that's our mission. And in the past, this was really the first, I'm looking for my list, this was really the first year when we used a broad term like elevating, celebrating, empowering, and I did not feel it was as effective as when we were women lead, and there we had women in politics, whoever mentioned that one, women lead. We did women's health, year of the volunteer, specifics, and we were able to bring in speakers that specifically went to that focus. And I just think that celebrating women is just too broad, and Ms. Baboumian.
May I make a suggestion, Chair Devine?
Yeah, table until we have 5.
How about celebrating women and aging?
Pardon?
Celebrating women and aging. So we're celebrating women and the aging process. It's just a suggestion that melds the two sides.
You like that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just
I like both
throwing it
ideas.
out there.
Okay, I think that's great. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we look at 2012 as a year of celebrating women and aging.
Great. Second?
I will second that motion.
Vote, please. Yes, Ms. Baboumian.
I'm sorry. Am I allowed to? I just wanted to ask if the commission would like to bring back direction for topics for next month, or would we just like to stick to the traditional health topics? Staff can bring back some suggested topics based on what conversation took place today.
Can we have the commissioners email you suggestions, and then we'll compile a list and bring it back?
Chair Devine, that's
Yes.
fine, but I'd like to complete the vote.
Yes.
On the
Okay.
thing
I'm so
first.
sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. This is Assistant District Attorney Martirosian. She's taking Ms. Varpetian's place tonight. Thank you. So let's, shall we have a vote?
We have a motion and a second.
Yes. So can we have a vote, Ms. Baboumian? I'm sorry.
Commissioner Burns,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcevanian,
Aye.
Vice Chair Miller,
Yes.
and Chair Devine.
Yes. And now, about the issues that we will be, the 12 issues. Now, some of the months are already taken, of course, because we have Heart Health Month that we always celebrate. We have Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which we always bring awareness to. Sexual Assault Awareness Month, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we're really looking for 8. My math correct? 8 issues. So if you will, if we can each send Ms. Baboumian a list, and then Commissioner Miller and I and Ms. Baboumian will get together and we'll go through the list, come back with 12 or 15 of them if we have that many, and you can vote on and discuss the list. Would that work? Do I need a motion on that? Or can we just say that that's the direction we want to go?
Chair Devine, that could be the direction, but then the discussion would have to be agendized in public.
Yes, next month. Yes, okay, so let's do that. This will be our focus, and so we'll ask all the commissioners to submit to you, Ms. Baboumian, a list of issues that they would like discussed, happy ones, sad ones, good and bad, and then we'll choose, a manageable number and bring them back, and then we can decide on which 12 we want to use. Okay? Great.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Next item.
2 is consideration and discussion of sponsorship of Glendale Unified School District Yellow Ribbon Week, Hands and Words Project. A is a motion providing direction regarding sponsorship of Glendale Unified School District Yellow Ribbon Week, Hands and Words Project.
A report, Ms. Babumi.
Yeah, Chair Devine, members of the Commission, Yellow Ribbon Week takes place the third week of January, and it's set aside by the Glendale Unified School District to raise awareness regarding violence and prevention efforts in the schools. For this upcoming year, Yellow Ribbon Week falls from January 16th through the 20th. The Hands and Words Are Not for Hurting Project is a nonprofit organization. It's located in Salem, Oregon, and was founded in 1997. The mission of the Hands and Words Project is to educate each person in every community about their moral and legal right to live free of abuse and violence. The Hands and Words Project includes a pledge that's taken by the participants and states that they will not use violence, verbal or physical, to control others. They will not tolerate any form of abuse from others, and they will ask for help. And they will not hurt themselves with words or actions, and they will develop healthy relationships based on respect and equality. For the past 6 years, in recognition of Yellow Ribbon Week, the Commission has partnered with the school district to bring the Hands and Words Project's anti-violence program into the district's curriculum. For the past 2 years, the Commission has been able to successfully help implement this program with 100% participation throughout the Glendale Unified School District. And historically, the Commission has allocated $3,500 each year towards the purchase of materials for the program. Traditionally, this includes buttons, stickers, and in the past we've also done reusable vinyl banners that the high schools proudly display during Yellow Ribbon Week. Students and staff of the school district have become accustomed to incorporating the slogan and its intent as a part of the week dedicated to nonviolence and promoting peaceful, respectful ways of interacting and supporting one another. And last year, the school district requested and received 6,500 brochures that were in English and Spanish, 18,500 stickers, 1,500 buttons. This totaled about $3,675. The school district covered the $175 balance. The Commission paid for the $3,500. And based on conversations with the school district, they are interested in continuing the Hands and Words Project this year, as they have in years past. And staff respectfully recommends direction from the Commission. That concludes my report.
This is a program that is highly thought of in the Glendale schools, especially in the elementary schools. The teachers and the students really love this program. And I think we're all for educating our youth on violence against themselves and others. So do we have some discussion? Anyone want to make a comment about this, or a motion? Or
I would like to know some of the specifics so we can all hear about what the program entails besides the brochures and buttons and stickers.
Commissioner Garcevani and members of the Commission, the school district has its own curriculum that they implement. The stickers and the buttons really serve as a visual in the elementary schools. I know that the students trace their hands and they take the pledge. The Hands and Words Are Not for Hurting pledge. It's shown on the cover of the Commission's 2009 to 14 strategic plan. So it is visual materials that are incorporated with each teacher has their own style of implementing the anti-violence curriculum. So it is really just the buttons and the stickers and the banners and the message that it carries.
Right, but I just want people to know what the program actually entails for the students. And
well, for the anti-violence curriculum, the school district, staff doesn't have that information right now as far as what each teacher does. I think it's really up to each teacher.
Gotcha.
I don't want to speak on behalf of the school district, but I believe, depending on the age group, they have different things that they do for each level.
Yeah, the main component is the handprint and the pledge. I will not use my hands or my words for hurting myself or others. and every child takes that pledge. They are allowed to take that handprint home, and the parents usually put it on the refrigerator. I've been out in the community, and they tell me about it. They remember it. And then everything else that goes in that program is completely designed by the teacher.
English, may I? English and what about the other languages besides English and Spanish?
The brochures, Commissioner Burns, are available in English and Spanish. The banners that were provided to the schools have been made in additional languages, such as Armenian and Korean, I believe, which are two other languages that are prominently found in the school district. As far as the brochures go, however, unfortunately, they are only available in English and Spanish.
We should also look into Tagalog.
You know, I will, just speaking from a personal standpoint, I have a number of nieces and nephews who've gone through the Glendale Unified School District, and long before I knew what this project was, I did know that it was fairly effective and meaningful to them because, we do know that there's an impact well, if we take my small study within my family and trust it as is. But, there are a variety of different ages, and I've always heard about this project, so I know its effect and meaning.
And I also think that next year, after we initiate in the second semester the teen dating violence program in the 9th grade, that the Safe Family Task Force and the Commission have gotten through the curriculum panel at the district, then I think we can consider next year cutting this in half to only including the elementary schools, so that our financial output will not be as much next year. But for now, I think we should go ahead and leave this in for the year. If there are no objections or changes, do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we sponsor the GOSD with a $3,500 grant for the Yellow Ribbon Week. Hands and words are not for hurting.
Second?
I'll second.
Vote, please. Mr. Bomian?
Commissioner Burns,
Yes.
Commissioner Garsavanian,
Aye.
Vice Chair Miller,
Yes.
and Chair Devine.
Yes. Next item,
Thank
please.
you.
Ms. Cordova?
3 is consideration and discussion of date and venue of the 8th Annual Jewels of Glendale Fundraising Luncheon. A is a motion providing direction regarding the date and venue of the 8th Annual Jewels of Glendale Fundraising Luncheon.
Mr. Bomian?
Yes, Chair Devine, members of the Commission, as you know, the 8th Annual Jules Luncheon is upon us, which will take place 2012. And the purpose of this event, as we all know, is to bring attention to the accomplishments of the women, great women in this community, and also this serves as the major fundraiser for the Commission. Traditionally, this event had been held in the month of March, but for the past 2 years, it's been held in May, and it's been proven successful. The event is tentatively scheduled at this time, pending the Commission's approval and direction, to be held on Thursday, May 10th, 2012, at the Oakmont Country Club. This is where the event was held last year. Based on direction provided by Commissioner Garsavanian, who's the chair of the Jules Luncheon, staff collected proposals from different venues in Glendale that might be appropriate, and this venue was really selected that was able to provide the most competitive rates while still meeting the needs of the fundraising event. At this time, which is not included in the report, staff would like to bring to the attention of the Commission that since this report was posted last week, another proposal has come in from Anush Restaurant Banquet Hall, and that proposal is very comparable to Oakmont's in price. It's $1.50 less per person. It's important to note that parking prices from either venue has not been confirmed at this time, which could potentially increase or decrease each per person cost by a couple of dollars. But I just would like to bring this to the Commission's attention. Once the venue has been approved and a contract has been signed, then staff can proceed with drafting a budget for the Commission for this event. Also for the Commission's consideration is the nomination period for the 2012 Jewels of Glendale Women of Courage Award. That will need to be opened. Staff would recommend having the nomination period open from December 1st through February 20th to collect those nominations. Interested parties would be able to nominate up to 2 women for consideration. That concludes my report if there's any questions.
So then, as I see it, then we have a decision to make whether to go to Anoush or Oakmont Country Club. Do I have, go ahead, did you add anything else?
Chair Devine, I was just going to say if the parking would make a difference, staff can come back next month with that information for consideration. But staff just wanted to let you know we don't have those exact prices. But it is a $1.50 difference per person at this point.
We didn't have any records from when we did it at Anoush the last time, 2 years ago,
I believe,
or 3 years ago.
I believe the valet was charged to the guests. And I know for the past couple of years, the Commission has covered the cost of parking. So there is potentially a zero cost for parking, but depending on the price, the Commission may choose to absorb that cost as a consideration to the guests.
Right, exactly. Is there any discussion amongst the commissioners?
Oakmont charges for parking?
Yes.
Valet.
But they also have ample parking.
But we,
Yeah.
yes, but
Yeah.
we cover it. We cover the parking, Oakmont, so that it's included in the price of the ticket.
For example, Vice Chair Miller, last year, parking, I believe, when you broke it down per person, came out to about $2.25 per person, approximately.
However, for me as a guest arriving at the Oakmont, what it felt like is that I had ample room for parking, I had a spacious area, and I had no charge. Whereas when I've gone to an event at Anoush before, although there are many great things about that place, specifically the menu, I didn't feel that way on the issue of parking or the charge. So I'm ready to vote.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Well, and we've done it before at Anoush, and we'd had several problems there, and I know at Oakmont, it just runs, it's on time, it's on schedule, it's convenient, it's beautiful, and it's a treat, and it's a classy place to have a luncheon. And I think we were all excited, actually, when Oakmont came back on the market for us in affordability, because it was such a wonderful venue and just kind of elevated the whole event. Commissioner Burns, do you have any comments?
No.
Also, the other thing that I might just throw out there thank you, by the way, Commissioner Garsfani, and I know you've done some of is it all of the research on this? First off, oh. Well, thank you.
Ms. Babunian.
I would also just remind us that we don't always, very often, throughout the year, we all go to a lot of luncheons and a lot of things, and I only remember going to one luncheon last year at the Oakmont. And it was the commission, so just remember, we do go to about 40 luncheons a year.
Right, yeah. So do we need a motion on venue, or do we want to bring it back for the parking? I think no matter what, I don't know how Anoush would work us covering the parking, but we certainly don't want to go back to charging our guests for parking. That's a step backwards, and I don't think that the commission should really do that. So do I have a motion for a venue? No. Okay. Then, Ms. Babunian, you may looking.
I
don't know what
Chair
else to
Devine,
tell
members
you
of
to
the
do.
Commission, may I perhaps not?
I'll make a motion.
I just staff wanted to ask if the date seemed appropriate.
Is that the second Thursday of the month?
I believe so.
Mr. Optimist meets?
It's also the Thursday right before Mother's Day.
That's usually,
Good,
yeah, no,
yeah.
we're good with that, actually, because it's a nice way to start the Mother's Day weekend.
And that's consistent with the time frame that we usually, that I remember it being last year.
Last year, right, it was, yes, it was.
Are you
Burns?
looking to not duplicate? Is that what you're thinking about?
In consideration of the venue? Yeah, that was just a personal
Change.
concern for me, yeah. I've been to Anush many times in my life, being community, and it's always very well, I've always been very well taken care of. Beautiful surroundings, and the food is amazing.
Food is amazing.
We get 20 entrees, 20 appetizers on the table, and 2 served entrees. Whereas Oakmont, we would get a salad, 1 entree, and a dessert.
A lot of food. Still no motion?
I'd like to make a motion to maybe bring this back next meeting, and after we have parking situations covered.
Second?
I'll second that.
Christine, can we also make a motion on the date so we have that secured for both locations, maybe?
I'm sorry, Commissioner Garcetti.
Can we make a motion so we secure the date?
Of course, yes.
Okay,
Staff
I'd
would-
also like to make a motion to secure Thursday, May 10th for the Glendale Award, Jewels of Glendale Luncheon.
Second.
We need a vote for both. First motion? First
Commissioner
motion?
Burns,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcetti,
Aye.
Vice Chair Miller,
Yes,
Chair Devine.
Second motion on the date?
Commissioner Burns,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcetti,
Aye.
Vice Chair Miller,
yes.
Chair Devine.
Thank you. So staff will bring back the parking details for both Oakmont and Anush, and at this time, we've secured May 10th, 2012 for the luncheon. As far as the nomination period, is the commission,
We want to,
Any
do we need a motion
conflicts?
for that one? Thursday, December the 1st through February the 20th. Is that basically what we had last year?
that is consistent with what we had last year. I believe
That worked out fine.
the date's been, the opening date might be moved up a little, but it's fairly similar to last year.
Later in December, you mean? Like the
Well, it's-
second week in December?
I believe last year we opened it up a little later. This time,
Yeah, if you give people too much time, then they forget. Like, they'll say, oh, it's December 1st, oh, until February 20th, I don't have to do anything until February the 1st. So how does the commission feel about that? Just kind of consolidating that?
I recall it had to be extended. Did it not?
yes, Commissioner Burns, it did have to be extended.
Because it's just like too much time.
No, I think,
Think it's not enough time?
well, it was extended for lack of nominations.
Then we ended up with 10. It was so
Well, that was
good.
all right, but
Yeah.
there was an extension as far as time
Well,
goes.
then we can start it in the second
Why
week.
don't you start little and
Start it
extend?
start it at the second week in December or third week in, well, not too close to Christmas, because that won't do any good either. But maybe the second week in December, and then close it at February 20th, and then if need be, we can always extend it. Done that in the past
Sure.
many times, yeah. We have.
So, Chair Devine, that's starting at the second week of December through the third week of February?
Will that give you enough time to, then you'll have another week or so or longer to extend if we have to, in order to make the invitations and et cetera. Okay. Does everyone agree on that? Do I need a motion?
Chair Devine, since the other items were resolved by a motion, I would recommend.
Okay. So I need a motion then to move the period of nomination opening on December would that be the 7th? 8th. December the 8th and going through February 20th. And if need be, she'll have time to extend. have a motion?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion that we extend the nomination period from December the 8th, 2011 to February 8th, 2012. 20th, 2012.
Yeah, December 8th to February.
Right.
Second?
Second.
Vote, please.
Commissioner Burns,
Yes.
Commissioner Garcevanian,
Aye.
Vice Chair Miller,
Yes.
and Chair Devine.
Next item, Ms. Cordova.
B is reports, information only. 1 is Commission on the Status of Women's 2011 Master Calendar of Events.
Okay, are there any corrections or additions to the calendar? I have one. I believe, Ms. Baboumian, that commission retreat, the ACCW retreat is January 13th to the 15th.
Oh, okay.
Not February, yeah,
Thank you.
Cambridge. Because the 13th is a Tuesday, it looks like, in February, a Monday, because we have a meeting.
So January 13th.
So it's January 13th through the 15th in Cambridge. Any other corrections? Then we can note and file. Next item, please, Ms. Cordova.
2 is final update on Domestic Violence Awareness Month activities.
Ms. Baboumian?
Chair Devine, members of the commission, this report is just a final update on the activities for October's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. The proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month in the City of Glendale was presented by the Mayor and City Council to the Commission on the Status of Women on Tuesday, October 4th at a City Council meeting here in Council Chambers. Additionally, the Commission held a candlelight vigil in conjunction with the Glendale YWCA, which took place on Thursday, October 20th from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the YWCA here in Glendale. The vigil was held in memory of victims of domestic violence and also provided an opportunity for awareness education and outreach to the community. Well over 100 people attended the event. There was a poetry reading in English, Armenian, and Spanish, and our very own ex officio Sarukanian, thank you, provided the Armenian poetry reading. There was a moving musical performance, and speakers at the event included State Senator Carol Liu, our very own Mayor Laura Friedman, representatives from the Glendale Police Department, various religious leaders from the community, the Glendale YWCA, and the Commission on the Status of Women. And that concludes my very brief report, if you have any questions.
Okay, we also had representatives from Assemblyman Mike Gatto's office and Adam Schiff's office was also there. I do want to thank Natalie. She did a beautiful job with her poetry reading. It was fabulous. I want to also thank Annette Kosker and Michelle Roberts from the Y and Ms. Baboumian, because you did a fabulous job. Commissioner Miller and I were there, and we were joined by 4 former commissioners, and I do want to thank them for taking the time to support the commission and to be there. Commissioner Hunt, Linda Bezoyan, Linda Pillsbury, and Elizabeth Manasarian, thank you for your constant support of this commission and the vigil. I also would like to thank ex officio Alcazar, because she went with me to City Council, and we had the opportunity, since no other commissioners were at the proclamation a presentation, so we went and to announce the vigil, and we took the opportunity to thank City Council for the proclamation. That is an honor to be given to us, and I think that it was nice that we went to thank them for that, because we should have a commissioner there when they take time, and they do that for us, so I appreciate that. So I think the vigil was wonderful. It was a big success. We had a lot of people. It was the biggest one we've ever had. And terrific. So thank you, Ms. Baboumian, and those of you that participated, thank you. Next item, please.
3 is Association of California Commissions for Women, ACCW, quarterly meeting update.
Chair Devine, members of the commission, as you can see in your packets, there is no report. This is just placed on the agenda. An oral report will be provided by Chair Devine, who attended the last quarterly meeting.
In the absence of Commissioner Garsabanian and Tostian, I took the teleconference call. There were 12 commissions present at the ACCW conference call on October 25th. The agenda was as followed. First, we discussed the ACCW becoming a 501c3. We are two-thirds of the way to that objective, and that will be a good thing for the association. There is a consideration of a fundraiser, a statewide fundraiser for the ACCW to raise funds for our retreats and information and programs. And they're considering doing LunaFest. And that is a series of short films. They're like about 10 minutes long about women's issues and the women who are dealing with them. Issues such as domestic violence, breast cancer, Pakistani women getting grants to raise funds and start small businesses. All are very powerful stories of survival. They're checking right now into the availability of the film and the cost of rental. So they will be getting back to us. And I think what they have planned is that if we do a LunaFest, and it's sponsored by Luna Bars, if any of you have heard of the Power Bars, Luna Bars. I showed this film at my house once. We had a group from Seroptimus, the Commission, both Seroptimus from the foothills and here. And it's a terrific film. And everyone really enjoyed it. And so anyway, if we do it with the ACCW and for the ACCW, what we'll do is share the profits 50-50 if we charge to see it, which we're supposed to do since it's a fundraiser. So as I say, that will be brought back in the future, and we'll probably discuss it in Cambria when we have the retreat. Mary Weiberg was in attendance, and she's the staff administrator for the State Commission on the Status of Women. And she wanted to give us the status of that commission. And Governor Brown is cutting funding, so they also need to raise $80,000 by February to keep that commission going. They are thinking of doing a fundraiser called Save the Commission Drive, in which they will be asking women all over the state to contribute $10 for this commission to stay alive. And they're going to be coming back with information and forms, et cetera, on that event. The State Commission has a little bit different focus than the local commissions. The State Commission focuses on is legislative driven, and that means that they're working with legislators to fight for bills guaranteeing women rights, and they work behind the scenes. And so it's kind of like a commission similar to this one, where nobody knows we're here, but they're really there working very hard for women. So we'll be contacted by Mary Weiberg from the State Commission eventually. And the last item of business was the quarterly meeting, which will be held January 13th through the 15th in Cambria. And again, we hope that our delegates will be able to go. And we'll be getting back. They gave us information on lodging and cost, et cetera, but we'll discuss that at a later date when we figure out if anyone's going. So that was the basis of the meeting, and that was it. Any questions? Comments? Okay. And that was the ACCW meeting of October 25th. Next item, please.
6 is commissioner and staff comments.
Let's start with Ms. Baboumian tonight.
The only comment I have is to congratulate student ex officio Alcazar for winning a contest for Creative Outlook magazine. I believe it was for a singing performance of a Bruno Mars song, and she was featured in their magazine. There was an article written based on an interview that they conducted with ex officio Alcazar, and the commission was greatly mentioned in her role in the commission. So congratulations.
Thank you.
That concludes my comments.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you're a singer.
Yes, I play
Okay,
piano.
so Commissioner Garsavani, and there's our entertainment for the luncheon. We got it. My job is done. Amen. All right. I would also like to say that Commissioner Alcazar's principal is in our office, Ms. Sullivan, so we welcome you, and I hope you're very proud of this young woman. Great. You're welcome. Okay. Commissioner Alcazar?
I have an announcement from our Holy Family High School. We are hosting a special Thanksgiving dinner night for the parents and anybody interested this Saturday, November 19th at 6:30 p.m. in our high school auditorium. And the cost of each person is about $45, but the special dinner includes a delicious Thanksgiving feast along with musical entertainment. I will be there also providing the entertainment. The address of this event is 400 East Lomita Avenue, Glendale, California, 91205, which is off of Colorado, close to the Americana. And we are holding this event to provide money for technology for the young scholars at our school. As we are a place where women make history, please help us in financially assisting these young women who can make history. And another portion will go to the homeless shelter, in which we are also donating canned foods to. So we're also having a canned food drive at our school. And if you are interested, feel free to contact our school at 818-241-3178. That's it. Thank you.
Can you give us that information, time and date again, please?
This Saturday, November 19th, 2011, at 6:30 p.m.
Okay, and they can call 241-3178
Yes.
for reservations. Great. Good luck.
Thank you.
Commissioner Burns?
How much was the luncheon or dinner again?
It's $45.
45. Okay, I wasn't quite sure what I heard. Busy month last month. The firemen held their annual fundraising lunch at the Hilton, and we had some very, very traumatic things going on at that luncheon with Mr. Krikorian. Fortunately, he seems to be coming along, but it certainly was everyone was taken aback, let's put it that way. He was lucky that the paramedics were right on, Johnny on the spot. And we lost Larry Zarian, and there is a public memorial. I believe it's 21st of November at the Alex Theater, and that would be at 7 or 7:30.
7:30.
I wouldn't be able to do without you. I thought it was 7.
7:30.
Hope is Forever had a fundraiser, and they underwrite children at City of Hope, and that was a very successful event. And then the senior lunch, I'm going to pass on to you. Women's Civic League honored 10 women who were members 20 years or longer. And we also heard from Mike Garcia, the new city attorney. That was fun. Glendale Beautiful heard from Chief DePompa. And one of the things he spoke about was, if we're safe, we're beautiful. Sort of tied into Glendale Beautiful. Liked it.
That was a good tie-in.
I did. And then the Patrons Club that underwrites a lot of money for students going to Glendale Community College held a fabulous fashion show. And then an elegant dinner held by the Foundation of the Verdugos last Thursday evening. And then we go on to November 17th, tree lighting over at the Americana. And you're going to talk about the Alex, aren't you? Okay, that's fine. Then we're going to say Happy Thanksgiving. We're going to see everybody December 3rd at the Santa Claus Parade in Montrose. And then December 4th, the Festival of Trees at the Hilton. December 6th, the holiday lunch for Glendale Beautiful. The Boy Scouts are having a I think it's a breakfast at 7 o'clock on December 7th. And then we're having the bell ringers coming December 8th at Women's Civic League. That would be Glendale High School. You're going to talk about the Pops on the 9th. And then Glendale Beautiful again at the Casa, the Luminarias, on December 9th. So we're going to be busy, and all of the commissioners are going to probably be going to 3 things a day. Thank you.
Commissioner Miller?
Wow. And if we can't, we're going to rely on you to go to a major portion of it. That was actually great. I was thinking the whole time, I was wondering if you could send me that list so I know what to go to. I just wanted, some of the things we experienced during this past month in this Glendale community once again brought forth just so many, combined with the speaker we actually had tonight, how fortunate we are again to live in a community with the resources that we have available to us. This was my first year participating in the vigil over at the YWCA, and but for the being on the commission, I probably would not have gone to that, and I can tell you, having gone to that and being moved so deeply, I will continue going to that, whether or not I'm on this commission. And so I'm
going to hold you to that.
There was and I'll keep to that. And then also, I had the opportunity to participate in the Armenian Bone Marrow Registry Walk, and then also the Glendale Health Festival. And each time I went to each of these different events, what became most apparent is that we have a lot of great people in this community who are very drawn to a lot of causes, doing a lot of hard work for a lot of less fortunate people. So I was very grateful for that. We did have our October Live Well Luncheon. It's not the senior luncheon, it's the Live Well Luncheon. The difference between me loving aging, Commissioner Burns, and you having a different view, perhaps. October, breast cancer, our speaker was Dr. Boris Bagdasarian, and in November we will have the speaker, Dr. Vigan Kajoyan, talking about diabetes and hypertension. If you've been watching or listening to the news every single day, you know that diabetes is just gaining more and more momentum every year on the amount of people that it affects and the amount of lives that it takes. And so, and then we also are joining forces with our friends up in North Glendale at Mount View Retirement to offer a lecture on longevity. Now, with that being said, all of these dates, these 3 luncheons, are available by going to glendaleadventist.com/livewell. glendaleadventist.com/livewell. And again, one is November 22nd at Glendale Adventist, and then the other is November 27th at Mount View. Also, I just want to add in one other thing for the community, speaking of opportunities that are available. This Thursday, the 17th, Dr. Sam Carvajal will be speaking about a very important and non-invasive procedure to combat GERDs, or gastroacid reflux. And so I encourage you, if you have any interest in that, it's a great procedure, and you should check it out at 818-409-8100. Again, 818-409-8100, and reserve your spot. And then I also wanted to congratulate student officio Alcazar, and I think that covers it. Thank you.
Mr. Rasbani?
I'd like to start with a flyer I was given. It's for the ANC Western Region Annual Banquet, and that's the Armenian National Committee of America. On Saturday, November 26th, 2011, they're having a cocktail reception, silent auction, and banquet. They are honoring Archbishop Musher Mardirosyan, Lifetime Achievement Award recipient Ken Khachigian. He was the speechwriter for President Ronald Reagan. Congressman Ed Royce, who is the Armenian Issues Caucus co-chairman. Anthony Portantino, he's the California Assembly member. Vic Darchinian, he is a boxing champion. Armenian American military veterans, and Hagop Bedrosian, sorry. And if you'd like more information, you can contact ANCA at anca.org/ancgrassroots, or call 818-500-1918. And another announcement I have is for the Glendale Pops Orchestra, which is a very exciting event we're having here in Glendale. It's on Friday, December 9th. It starts at 8 p.m. With artistic director and conductor Matt Kattingub, I can never say his last name, acclaimed jazz pianist David Benoit, Grammy Award-winning recording artist Taylor Dane, and our very own Glendale Pops Youth Orchestra, and the orchestra is funded in part by the Glendale Kiwanis Club. So if you'd like tickets, you can go to alextheater.org, and also you can call 818-243-ALEX. And I'd like to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving, and congratulations, Commissioner Alcazar. That's it for me.
Commissioner Sakrahanian?
So Michelle Roberts, who's the executive director at the YWCA, spoke last time, and she actually told us about some volunteer opportunities at the YWCA. So I got in contact with Annette Kosker, and I'm actually I'm still in the process of finishing my paperwork, but I'm going to be working with the women and children who are staying at the shelters at the YWCA, and that's in collaboration with my senior project. So hopefully it goes good. The candlelight vigil was the first step into starting my project. So
Tell us about your senior project.
well, I'm just like next week is when my paper is due, and my paper was just on domestic violence, and I focused on what are the causes of it, and what are the options for women to escape from such relationships. And so after my paper, I'm going to start with my field work, and the volunteering and this commission is part of the main part of my field work. So we'll see what I can come up with for my final product.
Good for you. Wish you luck on that one. And again, you did a terrific job.
Thank you.
Vigil. Let's see. I have a couple of announcements. The first has to do with the Skirball in West LA. They're going to have an exhibit called Women Hold Up Half the Sky. And the exhibit comes from the book of the same name by Nicholas Kristof and Cheryl Woodan. These two authors won the Pulitzer Prize for the story that was written in the 90s. The exhibit addresses gender equality as the human rights cause of our time. Subjects addressed in the exhibit are gender-based violence, maternal mortality, and sex trafficking. All stories and exhibits are uplifting and inspirational, not depressing. The exhibit goes from now until March 11th at the Skirball. I have a friend who volunteers there, and she says it's absolutely a wonderful exhibit. So if anyone's interested in more information, go to www.skirball.org. The second, I'm supposed to put this mustache on. It's going to work, but Glendale, it's not working. Glendale Adventist is starting a new campaign. They just won't stay on. A new campaign to bring light to health issues involving men. And we all have men in our lives, and we want to make sure that they address their health issues. They're calling it Movember, and as I understand it from Commissioner Garsavanian, this is a national campaign. So they have buttons, and men, you're supposed to, I guess, shave your mustaches, and women are supposed to wear them to bring about awareness.
We all
grow them. You grow them. Okay. Oh, that's what's going on. Okay. So you grow them. It's called Movember, and so we'll wear them and you'll grow them. If you'd like information about this project, please get in touch with Glendale Adventist, and let's see, you want to talk to Bennett, right? Or Mari Abrams at 818-409-6607. So let's help our men, the men in our lives, to watch out for their health. I want to remind everybody that on December 15th, the Safe Family Task Force is going to have a forum, a workshop from 9:30 in the morning to 1:30 for the clergy of Glendale and Burbank, which deals with family violence. And what we're trying to do is educate the clergy on how to handle victims that come to them with a problem, and make sure that all the clergy know how to handle it, where to go, the resources, what's available in our city. So if any of you have a clergy member that you would like to attend, please invite them. If you need information, please call Ms. Baboumian at the city at 548-4844. That's it, okay? Because that's going to be a really important step in educating the clergy, because we think we have a disconnect, and we want to make sure that we kind of close that up. And so that's it for me. I want to wish, before we adjourn, I want to wish John Krikorian the best of health. Please get well soon. We're looking forward to having you back on your feet and in the community doing all the wonderful work that you've done. Our hearts go out to the family of former Mayor Larry Zarian. He was a fabulous person, a great mayor, and he was a friend of this commission. And I thank him every day for everything that he did. He will be greatly missed. And I hope that his family can find some consolation in knowing that he was so loved in this community. And with that, do I have a motion for adjournment, please?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
And with that, we adjourn the meeting at 10:07. Thank you.